What's happening out there, model makers? It is late January, and I have spent most of the last month aimlessly frittering around my workbench, making videos, doing little experiments, and not a lot of really focused, productive work. Mostly because I've spent most of the last month with what I'm pretty certain is some kind of weaponized form of the bubonic plague. But that seems to be over with now. I actually have my voice back, and I'm not subsisting on a diet of Ricola and Tylenol. So, I realized that I have not yet responded to this month's assignment from the Combat Workshop for the Sprue Cutters Union. And as a faithful minion of said union, it's time for me to get busy on that. This month's question is, what stalls you on a project? And the answer for me is, as usual, both very simple and very complex, because the answer is nothing and everything. I know, doesn't make any sense at all, but let me explain. So, I know that some guys hate putting on decals. They hate filling and sanding. They hate doing photo etch. They hate whatever. None of those things bother me. I don't mind any of those at all on an individual basis. They're just part of what it takes to get to the fun part, which for me is painting and weathering. And it's all good. It's all part of the journey. So none of those things in particular get me stalled out, although I have to confess that I do really despise landing gear and painting propeller tips. But anyway, that's a whole different rant. No, what stalls me out on a project is two things. The first and the easiest one is boredom. If I've been doing the same activity, sanding and filling or painting or whatever it is for what seems like weeks on end, I just eventually get bored and I want to do something different. Call me one of those guys with a short attention span. I can only do sanding and filling for like a month before I get tired of it. And so I feel like I want to switch to something else when I get to that point. But what really stalls me out is getting frustrated and annoyed because I'm having to fight a crappy kit every time I pick it up. Let's take, for example, a kit that gets a lot of love for whatever reason because of its mythological status, I suppose, and that's the Accurate Miniatures B25. Now, this is a terrible kit. I'm not going to go into all the reasons why it's a terrible kit. I've got a whole video series about that very thing. But the fact is that it fights me literally every time I pick it up. And eventually I can feel myself getting frustrated with that. And I just have to move on to something else. I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to let the thing beat me. And so I know that if I'm going to get good results and I'm going to, feel good about my process and about what I'm doing, that I just have to put it down and walk away from it for a while and do something different. And that's why something like the Accurate Miniatures B25 has taken me over 6 months to get just to the point that it has, where I'm finally ready to spray some primer on the fuselage. But on the other hand, I can work for 2 months solid, feeling like I'm having fun every day, building a Tamiya 132nd Mustang. There's just a difference. It's a different philosophy. It's a different product. And it affects me differently along the way. So that's also why I have this sort of round-robin project strategy where I've got 3, 4, 5, 6 things going at once, because I know that just as soon as I feel that bit of frustration, as soon as I feel my momentum starting to slow and that stall coming on, I can switch. I can do that. I can set that kit aside and I can go to something else that I haven't visited in a while and that's not currently pissing me off. And it works good. Sometimes it means that things take a long time, but it also means that my overall level of enjoyment stays pretty high. So that's the deal. Bad kits. That's what slows me down. What slows you down? What makes you want to just throw up your hands and walk away? All right, guys. As always, thanks again. I appreciate you watching. Much love.